There's my intake. This is a carbureted intake, so it's gonna look a little different. You can see he played it off. Whatever was right there, I'm not even sure. Had to do with something with the emission system, so I mean, I'll probably clean this thing out, make sure it's all scraped up nice, nice and clean. Everything will be clean before I put it back on. So there's the intake, and there it is. So pretty much that's pretty much everything. I guess I could remove the plate. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that, because I don't know what the shop's gonna need, if they're gonna need the head completely stripped. I'm assuming that that's what they're gonna want, so yeah, I'll take off that. And that'll pretty much complete the intake side right here. Just taking this off too. That should complete everything on this side. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna have to actually, once I start getting on this side, those exhaust headers are gonna be fucking heavy. I'm gonna have to unbolt the flange underneath here so that I don't have the entire pipe attached to the freaking headers. So I'll just unbolt those 2 bolts and just let that freaking thing hang, and then take off the headers. Like I said, the headers are going to be really, really heavy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave those till last. I'm going to start removing the electrical components and the belts and everything like that. But what you do is that before I do anything on this side or in the front, I wanted to place this engine in top dead center, so that I'm not worried about having to do that later on, because you want to have it on the compression stroke on at top dead center, the first cylinder, when you take it off and all apart, because that's just what it calls for. I actually really don't know the reasoning behind it, because I'm not a mechanic, but I'm going to follow the rules, so that's the way it is. And basically once all this and that's removed, I'm going to take off the fan clutch, just because of the fact that it'll make it a lot easier to get to that pulley bolt. A lot of the time when I put it to top dead center, when I was messing with my distributor, I just left the fan clutch on, but it's gonna have to come off anyway, so just take it off. It'll give me good room to get to that freaking pulley down there. So then I can just place it top dead center, and once it's top dead center, I can take out the distributor, take off the cap, take off this, and then just get it all nice and going. So pretty much one side's finished. Now I just need to get to this side, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys, and remember, label everything. Make sure that you pay attention to the bolts that are coming out of these holes as well. I hope you guys enjoy this video, because I'm really going through a lot of trouble, because I could not find a video online of a full complete breakdown. Obviously my engine was a lot more simplified than a lot of the other engines you're going to come with. Even with a carbureted engine, this thing had the least amount of emissions control to it, so I didn't have very many vacuum lines. So when you do a smog legal truck, just make sure that you label all the vacuum lines and where they go, and a lot of the electrical lines. If you're going to be working with a 22RE, obviously I don't have the plenum on top of here with all the electronics, so make sure you label all the electronics. I'm sorry I can't help you with that, because this is basically a really oversimplified engine. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll continue to update you. Okay, well, I got a little ahead of myself, and I forgot that I was supposed to be filming, so let's show you the progress. Obviously everything on that side's off. The pressure regulator I took off, and then the bolt, or the plug for the EGR. Before I took off the bolts, I took off the fan clutch. The belts, I apologize. I took off the fan clutch, and it's just sitting down there, obviously, you can see it. So what ended up happening is that after I took the fan clutch off, it was much easier to get to this area. So I rotated it to top dead center. Notice how it's all marked up with the 0, and it was at the compression stroke of the first cylinder, because that was evident of the rotor was pointing to the number 1 spark plug. So that let me know it was on top dead center. And so once I put it on top dead center, I basically took out the distributor, because once it's at top dead center, I can take out the distributor. And then I took off the belts. So now the belts are off. Right now I've moved the alternator out of the way, so it's not in the way right now. And next step I have is to remove this power steering pump and the brackets on it. And what I did is that hold on, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, the distributor, when I took it out, I took out everything as a whole unit. So I just unplugged all the spark plug wires and just left them all hooked up to the cap, left the cap on the distributor, and you know what I mean? Just took it all off as one unit so I don't have multiple parts everywhere. And now I'm just focusing on this bracket right here where the power steering pump is. And once that's pretty much, because all I'm going to do is just unbolt it and move it out of the way, because I just need to unbolt it from here. So if I can get something maybe to hang it on or something like that, it'll be fine. I just need to get it out of the way. And then this bracket, all this area right here, get it out of the way. I just need to try and remove the brackets that this power steering pump is attached to, so that I can just get them off the head. That's really all I need to do, is just remove them like an inch out, you know what I mean? And then once that's done with, I'll go to the pipe and undo those flanges and or those flange bolts. Once those flange bolts are off, then the hard part comes, because that means that I gotta take off the headers, and the headers are fucking heavy. And then the last step before then, I mean, I may just leave those spark plugs in until I take off the valve cover and the rocker arm assembly. I'm not sure how the order goes for that, so I'll have to consult my Haynes manual for everything. Once everything is all off, the side components, all the accessories are off. Once I get into here is when I'm going to start looking at this book, because there's certain sequences of stuff that you have to do, and most of this stuff is just all accessory. You can just take off. It's not a big deal, no matter what order. Aside from the fact that you do want to put it to top dead center before you take off the distributor. That should have been the last thing I did, but whatever. I wanted to clear up room for this bracket so that I could get it off. So yeah, so it's coming along. Not too much more. So yeah. Okay. What's up, everybody? Okay, last time I left you guys off, I was starting with the exhaust side. So before I get to that side, this is the gasket that came off the exhaust, and obviously you got the heat protector and everything like that. You could tell that the very last cylinder was just burned out bad. I mean, most of them were burned out. That's probably why I had some exhaust leaks. But see, that's the way they go. But you can see that they're both showing burnt out marks right here on that very last cylinder. So that very last cylinder wasn't doing too good. Hopefully the block's still good, the low end, you know what I mean? So moved the power steering pump just slightly out the way. Same with the exhaust. Plugged up all those holes so there's no dirty or no dust and everything that gets in there. But not too bad. I'm now done with this. I'm gonna leave the spark plugs in for right now. Get the timing cover off. Once the timing cover's, to me it really doesn't matter, but I'd rather be closer to the head, to getting the head off when I take those out, because I'll have to plug those holes too and everything like that. So not too bad. Basically now I just have to worry about getting the head off. The valve cover's got to come off, the rocker arm assembly comes off, and then the head comes off. But first off, I'm almost positive I have to take off the water pump and everything like that, so it shouldn't be too much more before this head's off. So right now it's lunchtime, and it's pretty much it. So yeah. Platinum, always a good choice when you're working out in the sun. Yeah, right. Get dehydrated. Anyway, that's a little treat for myself. Yeah, anyway, so I took the valve cover off, and you can see the rocker arm assembly, and milky white. Bummer, dude. This thing looks like it's in fairly good condition. I don't see too many. I see a couple of scratches on the top of these rocker arms. I wonder what happened. Maybe I kind of messed them up. What I should do is I should check out the valve cover and see if those same scratches are on that thing. because that means those rocker arms are hitting the top of the valve cover. I don't really see too many scratches, especially right here within this area right here. You would see them somewhere right here. So, nope. Okay, anyway. So, technically, all I have to do is just remove this gear with this bolt. There's a bolt right down here. You have to, you want to just loosen that, and I don't know. I gotta look at the instructions. I completely forgot what it has just told to me right now. But anyway, there's a sequence of loosening instructions. These bolts, I think it's like this one, that one, that one, that one, this, you know what I mean? Like, it basically varies from front to back, left to right. And it's a loosening sequence because these bolts not only hold the rocker arm assembly, all this together, but they're the head bolts. And so once that comes out, this rocker assembly comes out, I'm able to move this timing chain out the way and get it out, then this head just comes right off, and I'm pretty much done for the day. I mean, I guess I can't say done for the day. I gotta go get this thing resurfaced, or I want to clean it first before I take it down to them. But yeah, here we are. Not too bad for a day's work, so thought I'd let everybody know. Okay, I totally forgot. This is an informative video, and I should let you guys know the sequence to which you undo these bolts. And what I did was that this is at top dead center. You can see it down there. It's marked 0, and you want to mark the sprocket and the chain so that it's in the same position afterwards. So the sprocket actually had a little dimple right here, and I just covered it with whiteout. It was recommended to me to use whiteout, and so that's all been marked with whiteout. That timing, or that chain link, will go directly above that. And here, let me show you guys the sequence. Okay, so the cylinder head bolt loosening sequence, the front. So obviously you see that it's going to go from that right front left corner to the back right corner, etc., etc. So just this is the instructions for the cylinder head removal. I thought I'd share this with everybody because there is a sequence that you want to loosen those bolts. So I don't think I'm going to get to that just yet. I have to pull the sprocket and everything off first. So that's what this says. It says pull sprocket and chain off the camshaft. Bolts. Increments until they can be removed by hand. Do not avoid warp or crack in the head. Do not pull the bolts out of the rocker arm shaft. Suspension ports lift up on the shaft to remove the rocker arms. Yeah, see, that's exactly what he said. A friend of mine's dad is a mechanic, and he basically said that when you loosen all the rocker arm bolts, don't take the bolts out, just leave them in and lift the entire rocker arm assembly out, because you can warp the actual rocker arm assembly. So I will follow that instructions, because that's exactly how it says it in here. So I thought I'd share. Everybody knows that sequence. Okay? As you guys can see, the head's out. It's been a long day. Just showered up. You know, I feel good now. So, back up, you can still see it. So yeah, basically, what I did is that after I did the bolt sequence, well, before I did the bolt sequence, I had the little sprocket right here for the distributor. I took that off, the little thing that was with it off. There was a bolt that was right here on the head. That was the head to the timing cover bolt. I took that off, and then I slid the sprocket off. It's still at top dead center, still marked and everything like that. And basically you just had to lift the head off. I had a little issue with the heater hose right here because they were in the way, and I forgot. I didn't take them off. I tried to take off as little as possible. So that's pretty much it for today. I'll get back on the installation.